class is in session. Today, I'm going to teach you how to fly a plane. No, I'm kidding. I'm talking about Pilotwings on the Super Nintendo. Hold on, I'm gonna grab this. Thanks. So Pilotwings was I'm pretty sure this was a launch title on the Super Nintendo. It came out in, 91 in the States. But it was and honestly, this game is pretty much and I mean this with no disrespect because I think this game honestly is pretty good. This is great. But to me, it's more of like a glorified tech demo rather than a full-on game. It's not it's not going to be your Earthbound or your Donkey Kong Country 2 on the Super Nintendo. It's not one of your undisputed classics on the system. Don't get me wrong. It's a good game, and I think if you're a Super Nintendo collector, you should buy it. But it's not your Earthbound. But what do you actually do in Pilotwings? Well, you fly a plane, man. You fly it around. All that really happened in this game is, the story, the lore of Pilotwings is that you're trying to train to be a certified pilot, and you have to go through some tests to get your award, your certificate. How do I pronounce this word? Certificate. I think it's certificate. How to get your certificate. But so yeah, the first thing you do is you get in a plane and you have to fly through these. I think it's you get to fly through these rings, and the point of this game is pretty much just to show the buyer in the 90s what the Super Nintendo could do. And this game was it was in the third dimension. Now, there weren't any like full-on 3D models, but it was still in the third dimension. You would fly your plane in a 3D space, kind of a third-person perspective. But the music is actually really good. I like the music in this game, but nothing particularly crazy about Pilotwings. I do really like the there's four different game modes. There's you could fly the plane. There might be more than four. I actually don't know if that's true, but there's a plane. There's a mission where you have to skydive, and you have to skydive through these specific rings and land on a specific spot on the Earth. And then there's a jetpack one. This is pretty fun. The jetpack one's definitely my favorite because the controls are just really fun, honestly. I mean, you have this whole 3D space around you, and you're just a little guy in a jetpack. You can quickly tilt it in either direction and forward, backward, or up and down. And the skydiving's okay. My big gripe with this game is, I'm not gonna lie, the controls on specifically the skydiving one, in my opinion, are not the best. Now, it's still fun. I'm not here to dock Pilotwings because it would be wrong for me to dock this game for what it is. It's not trying to be your Earthbound, your Donkey Kong Country 2, your Zelda, Link to the Past, your Mario World, your Super Metroid. It's not trying to be any of that. It's simply I would say a glorified tech demo that is just here to show you what the Super Nintendo can do. If you are a Super Nintendo collector, I would still definitely pick up Pilotwings because, well, just one of those games. It's one of those launch titles for the system that's honestly pretty fun. And I will say, it's nothing crazy. It's not going to grab your attention for many, many hours, but I'd say it's definitely, if you can get a copy of Pilotwings, I don't really know what it goes for these days, but if you can get a copy of Pilotwings for relatively cheap, and you are a Super Nintendo collector, I would get it. Now, granted, in my honest opinion, when you're buying a Super Nintendo, the first thing you should do is get Mario World, you should get Zelda, Super Metroid, the Donkey Kong Country, the whole trilogy, in my honest opinion. F-Zero, that's a great game. F-Zero is very fun. Castlevania 4, Contra 3, Turtles 4. I'm not gonna yap too much more about that, but I would say what I'm trying to get at is not the first Super Nintendo game you should buy. But I think, if you're a collector, I think it should definitely miraculously, God should send it down from the heavens and just slowly put it into your collection, suddenly. Or you have a big red button that says purchase Pilotwings. Beep. You should. Honestly, you should. Again, nothing super crazy going on in this game. But it's just it's like a fun collection of mini games to play that help you get familiar with the console and its power, its capabilities. But yeah, nothing particularly insane about Pilotwings. But if you are a Super Nintendo collector, I would definitely purchase this one. There's not much more for me to say about Pilotwings, honestly. So I think I'm gonna do what's best, and I'm gonna get out of here. Okay, class is no longer in session. You're dismissed.